Good morning everyone, my name is Enrique Muñoz and I will present the work entitled A 30-Year Analysis of Trajectories of Evolution of Mountain Cattle Farming Systems in the Spanish Pyrenees. This work has been accomplished by the Agri-Food Research and Technology Center of Aragon thanks to the support of the GENTOR project. Mountain agroecosystems, which constitute a third of Europe's land area and hold 17% of its population, deliver crucial provisioning, regulating and cultural services to society. How mountain agroecosystems evolve is conditioned by, and at the same time, conditions human activity at global, regional, and local scale. Adaptation at household and local level to socioeconomic changes such as agricultural policies, market changes, or increasing the opportunity cost of labor determine the different trajectories of evolution of rural areas in general, and cattle farming systems in particular. Therefore, understanding the diversity of current states and past trajectories can generate relevant knowledge to better contextualize and support optimal agricultural policy strategies for future changes. In this context, the objective of this study was threefold. First, to analyze the main changes occurred in cattle farming systems in the Spanish Pyrenees from 1990 to 2018. Second, to identify the different trajectories of evolution of farms that have taken place. And third of all, to determine the key drivers of those trajectories at global, regional, and household levels. To carry out this study, a constant sample of 50 cattle farms was surveyed in 1990s, 2004, and 2018 in three different valleys of the Spanish Pyrenees: Broto, Benasque, and Valera Bernués. The surveys gathered information about farm structure, such as herd size or agricultural area, management, like the grazing season length or whether if they fatten in farm or not, and farmer profile, such as farmer level of education or family size. We also collect general information about demographic, economic activities, and livestock farms statistics from official regional statistics. Moving to the analysis, firstly, we explore the evolution of general socioeconomic and cattle farming context in the three valleys during the study period. Secondly, for the general evolution of the systems, we analyze a set of variables defining structure, management, and economic performance of farms. Differences were tested by ANOVA and cross-quality test using R software for all statistical analysis. Then, we select 9 variables for an in-depth analysis of trajectories of evolution. These variables were utilized agricultural area, herd size, livestock unit per work unit, percentage of income from fattening per total output, grazing season length, variable cost per livestock unit, gross margin without subsidies per work unit, stocking rate, and percentage of herd using mountain pastures. With these variables, we analyze the differences per farm and their evolution once the general common trend of evolution, time dependent, was eliminated. Then, a principal component analysis was performed on those variables to obtain the main factors that summarize the changes occurred. Finally, a cluster analysis was carried out on those factors to establish a typology of farms according to the main trajectories of evolution found. Finally, discriminant analysis was used to identify the drivers of farm trajectories by determining the socioeconomic factors that best discriminate among trajectories of evolution. Moving to the results, the three valleys differed in their socioeconomic development pathways. In general, Broto Valley has focused on a development based on rural ecotourism. While maintaining a constant population, the main economic activity in the valley has moved from agriculture to services, which currently involve around 80% of the working force. However, the number of cattle heads in the valley has remained relatively constant due to a process of structural adjustment, despite the number of farms being reduced. Socioeconomic development in Benasque Valley revolved around winter tourism based on ski and rural tourism. The valley experienced a relevant increase of population during the first period. Similarly to Broto, Benasque suffered a strong reduction in the number of population working in the agricultural sector, in favor to an increase in the services sector. Furthermore, the number of cattle farms decreased, while the number of cattle heads kept constant. Contrary to Broto and Benasque, Valera Bernués Valley suffered a continuous reduction of population, while keeping a strong dependence of the agricultural sector. Despite the percentage of population working in agriculture has slightly decreased, it still accounts for 40% of the labor force of the valley. The number of cattle heads increased slightly, and the number of cattle farms decreased. There have been very few examples of longitudinal studies that monitor actual farm data from surveys, despite the importance of such studies for understanding farm management and development strategies to survive and adapt. Going back to the same farms over a period of 30 years allowed us to analyze how mountain livestock systems had adapted to changing policies and socioeconomic factors at global and regional levels. This diagram summarizes all the results about farming systems evolution and its drivers of change. On the one hand, we have the general trend characterized by the change in the productive orientation, the increase in herd size, agricultural area, and stocking rate, as well as a reduction in the labor force. These changes followed updates of the European CAP that first promoted the abandonment of milk production with the 1992 and the Agenda 2000 reform, and that later on moved to a more intense decoupling and development of rural areas with the 2009 and 2013 reforms. Those reforms have been crucial to maintain agricultural profitability. In fact, we found that subsidies account for an average of 70% of gross margin both in 2004 and 2018. In addition to this general trend, we identified three trajectories that correspond to the studied valleys, which highlights the existence of regional factors that influence the evolution of agricultural systems. The different economic development of the non-agricultural sectors in the valleys and municipalities, in particular tourism, has been a decisive driver of the evolution of livestock systems. Tourism and the resulting urbanization decreased the availability of land for agriculture and increased the price of land, displacing agricultural activities, although tourism also creates opportunities for non-agricultural work that can be used by the farmer and his family to supplement family income. Finally, in addition to the three valley-specific trajectories, farms from all valleys were grouped into a common trajectory, including about 40% of farms. These farms were characterized by being relatively stable throughout the study period and by focusing on a low input, low output strategy. Farms that followed this common path were different from the rest in relation to key household factors. For example, older farmer age, lowest level of education, and smallest household size, revealing that in addition to regional socioeconomic factors, the particularities of the household can be crucial to determine the evolution of livestock. High age and low level of education have been related to risk aversion and lack of dynamism, and in our case could explain why farmers with this characteristic did not try to maximize agricultural products. In addition, these farms had the smallest household size, which could indicate a greater problem of lack of successions and as a consequence a lack of farmer interest in agricultural investment with long or medium-term returns. The weakening of family farming traditions clearly upsets the process of incorporation of young farmers, causing the abandonment of family farms. The study's findings have three key implications for agricultural and rural development policies. First, the fact that farms in different regions follow different trajectories of evolution and the similar global and regional drivers highlights the need to better target agricultural policies and assess their impact. For this, European and national statistics should improve the monitoring and evaluation of farms, carrying out annual monitoring on constant samples of farms disaggregated by agroecosystems and management practices. Secondly, we've shown that the maintenance of mountain agricultural activity depends to a great extent on social factors. In fact, 85% of farms that stopped their activity during the second period did so due to a lack of successors. Therefore, policies focused on fostering generational farm rotation are clearly not achieving their goals, and aging farmers is becoming the most pressing issue for the future of mountain agriculture. Third, we show that agricultural profitability strongly depends on CAP subsidies. However, the distribution of subsidies is concentrated in a minority of farmers according to the size of the farm, rather than in social and environmental results. The need to transform subsidies into payments for ecosystem services has been pointed out in several studies as a possible way forward for agricultural and environmental policies. In this sense, greater integration of the CAP with other European policies, such as the Natura 2000 network and the Sustainable Development Goals will increase the coherence, efficiency, and equity of public policies. As final remarks, this study contributes to the understanding of change in mountain livestock in the last 30 years, showing how the trajectories of evolution of livestock in the Spanish Pyrenees results from the interaction of factors at the European, regional, and household levels. At the European level, agricultural policy had an enormous influence, resulting in high economic dependence on subsidies, increased herd size, and a reduction in the workforce. Variable costs decreased in parallel with an increase in grazing and a change in production orientation. At the regional level, tourism generates a scenario of labor and land competition in some valleys, but also the possibility of extra income for the household. This circumstance, together with the dependence of subsidies, is causing a tense relationship between agriculture and tourism. At the farm level, household factors were crucial to determine the specific trajectory followed by the farm. Under similar global and regional conditions, different pathways of socioeconomic development occurred depending on factors such as farmer age, education level, and household size. However, 40% of farms showed limitation in adapting to changes, which questions their ability to face future challenges. The ability of farms to maintain their adaptability or resistance to change while maintaining their economic and social viability will likely determine the future of livestock systems in the European mountain areas. And that's it. This study has been published in Agricultural Systems. Thank you everyone for your attention.